The silent divide. Have you ever had someone look at you with frustration and say, "That's not what I meant at all"? Or maybe you've walked away from a conversation thinking, "How did they twist my words like that?" We've all been there. Poor communication is something we don't like to admit, but we all suffer from it. It's not just an issue in marriages or family life. It creeps into friendships, workplaces, and even casual encounters. And the damage it does? It's quiet, but it's devastating. It's like cracks in a wall. You don't see them right away. But over time, they spread until the whole structure weakens. Example 1, the dinner table story. Let's begin at home. A wife says to her husband, "Can you help me with the dishes tonight?" He answers, "Sure." She means right after dinner. He means later, maybe after watching the game. No one clarifies. No one explains. She grows resentful. He feels accused. Something so small snowballs into silence. They're not really angry about the dishes. It's about what those dishes represented. To her, they meant teamwork. To him, they meant a task he would eventually get to. And suddenly, love feels a little heavier. Example 2, the workplace story. Now picture the office. A manager sends a quick email. "Get this done ASAP." The employee, already overwhelmed, panics. Do they drop everything? Do they risk delaying other projects? They rush. They stress. They cut corners. Later, the manager is disappointed, saying, "This isn't what I wanted." The employee thinks, "Then why didn't you just say so?" And here's the saddest part. Neither person was trying to hurt the other. They were both doing their best, but the message got lost. Trust got shaken. Why poor communication hurts so much. Poor communication doesn't always look like shouting or arguing. Sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's vague words. Sometimes it's assumptions. We often believe the people closest to us, our spouses, our parents, our co-workers, should know what we mean without us spelling it out. But here's the truth. Nobody can read minds. And yet, when we don't feel understood, it cuts deep. We feel invisible, unheard, devalued. And in those moments, the relationship starts to erode. The layers of misunderstanding. Communication isn't just about words. Words are only a fraction. It's the tone of your voice, the way your eyes shift, the sigh in between your sentences, the silence after someone asks you a question. Think about the last time someone told you, "I'm fine." Did you actually believe them? Probably not, because tone and body language said more than the words ever could. And here's the kicker. Most of us underestimate how we come across. What we think is neutral might feel cold to someone else. What we think is serious might sound angry. What we think is clear might actually be vague. The domino effect of miscommunication. Poor communication has a ripple effect. At home, one small misunderstanding can lead to days of silence. That silence can grow into resentment. And resentment? It kills intimacy. At work, one vague instruction can cause weeks of wasted effort. Deadlines slip. Tempers flare. Morale drops. One missed word, one unclear request, one unspoken assumption. These are the dominoes that topple entire relationships, entire teams, entire companies. The emotional toll. But let's talk about the deeper impact. The part we don't often admit. When someone doesn't understand us, we don't just get frustrated, we feel unseen. And being unseen is one of the loneliest feelings in the world. How many arguments in marriages start not because of the thing, but because one person feels unheard? How many employees quit jobs not because of pay, but because their voices were ignored? How many friendships drift apart because one text went unanswered and no one bothered to explain why? Poor communication doesn't just create problems, it creates distance. And distance creates emptiness. Stories of change. But here's the good news. Communication is a skill. And skills can be learned. I once heard about a couple who nearly divorced after years of not hearing each other. Their fights weren't violent. They weren't even loud. They were just constant misunderstandings. What he said wasn't what she heard, and what she said wasn't what he heard. Finally, in therapy, they were asked to repeat back what the other had said. It was eye-opening. For the first time, they realized how much they had been misinterpreting. Slowly, through patience, they learned to stop assuming, to clarify, to listen with empathy. Their marriage was saved, not because of grand romantic gestures, but because of clearer communication. And I know a young professional who struggled with vague directions from his boss. At first, he stayed silent, afraid to look incompetent. But eventually, he started asking questions. When exactly do you need this? What's the priority level? Instead of annoying his boss, it actually made him stand out as reliable and detail-oriented. His career took off, all because he dared to clarify. The lessons hidden in poor communication. Every misunderstanding teaches us something, if we're willing to see it. It teaches us patience. It teaches us empathy. It teaches us that clarity is kindness. We often think it's rude to ask too many questions, but the real rudeness is leaving someone confused. We think it's easier to stay silent than to explain, but silence is the loudest miscommunication of all. Practical shifts that change everything. Imagine what would happen if we made small shifts. At home, instead of saying, "We'll talk later," say, "Let's talk after dinner at 8. At work, instead of ASAP, say, "I'll need this by Friday noon so I can review it before the meeting." With friends, instead of ghosting a message, say, "I'm overwhelmed right now, but I'll get back to you tomorrow." Small adjustments. Huge impact. Because when people know where they stand, they stop guessing. And when they stop guessing, they stop resenting. The transformation. When communication improves, everything improves. Couples laugh again. Families feel lighter. Friendships deepen. Workplaces become more productive, but also more human. The weight of assumptions lifts. The anxiety of uncertainty fades. And in its place comes trust, connection, respect. Good communication doesn't just fix problems. It builds bridges, and bridges carry us through storms. Closing story, the power of clarity. Let me end with this. A man once said his father gave him the greatest gift, not money, not advice, but clarity. Every time they spoke, his father made sure he left nothing unsaid. This is what I mean. This is what I feel. This is what I expect. It wasn't always perfect, but it was clear. And because it was clear, there was trust. And because there was trust, there was peace. That's the gift of good communication. Not perfection. Not poetry. Just clarity. So here's my challenge to you. This week, choose one conversation, just one, and communicate differently. Be specific. Be clear. Be empathetic. Don't assume. Don't guess. Don't stay silent. And then watch the change. Watch how people respond when they finally feel heard. If this message touched you, share it. Someone you know is struggling with poor communication right now, and this might be what saves their relationship, their friendship, maybe even their career. This is Grind and Grow, where we turn struggles into strength. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below. What's one small shift you can make to improve your communication today? Remember this, communication isn't just about talking. It's about connecting. And when you connect, you grow.